Welcome to another story made by Oracle 1. The night was deep, cloaked in the muted glow of streetlights filtering weakly through a thick evening fog. Simon had just settled into a bleak, cramped apartment complex nestled in the outskirts of town. The kind of place where everyone kept to themselves behind cracked curtains and barred windows. It was meant to be temporary, a patch until he got on his feet again. But something about the place gnawed at him, a disquiet he couldn't place. Around midnight, as he lay in bed staring at the cracked ceiling, a faint, desperate cry pierced the silence, soft and wet, like the whimper of a trapped animal. Simon sat up, heart thundering in his chest. The sound was coming from his neighbor's garage. The Irwins were new too. A middle-aged couple with a spoiled little girl named Maddie who was visible through the window at odd hours, always perched like a statue clutching her ragged teddy bear. The garage was dimly lit, cluttered with old furniture and faded boxes stacked high. A large blue tarp covered the biggest shapes, probably to protect them from the dust and cold. He was about to shrug it off, dismissing it as some figment of his exhausted mind, when that whimper came again, more urgent, almost pleading. He felt an icy finger trail down his spine. His gaze was drawn to the tarp. The heavy plastic sheeting was shifting slightly, as if something beneath it was struggling to free itself. Simon's breath hitched. The rational part of his mind whispered there was nothing there, just a shadow or a stray rat, but the visceral dread screamed otherwise. He stepped closer cautiously, eyes wide in the shivering darkness of the cramped parking lot. The tarp convulsed. The plastic wrinkled rhythmically as if something alive, something desperate and trapped, was crawling beneath. He swallowed hard, his pulse banging loudly in his ears. He knew he should call the police. He wanted to, but curiosity, mixed with a strange protective urge, rooted his feet where he stood. Slowly, almost reverently, Simon reached out and tugged at the corner of the tarp, careful not to tear it. The moment the plastic flipped aside, a horrified, gut-wrenching scene dragged him into a nightmare world. A twisted, malformed figure lay beneath, skin stretched and slick like wet latex. The face was barely human, the eyes gouged out, replaced by swollen, infected sockets weeping black fluid. The mouth was pulled back in a grotesque rictus, revealing rows of jagged, needle-sharp teeth dripping with viscous mucus. Long, spindly limbs contorted in unnatural angles, bent too far at the elbows and knees. Parts of the flesh peeled away revealing muscles and bones that pulsed as if alive, quivering beneath a translucent membrane. Simon stumbled back, gagging on the stench of decay mixed with something chemically sharp, like burnt plastic. The creature, or whatever it was, breathed with wet, ragged gasps, its uneven chest heaving violently. It reached out a hand, the fingers ending in cracked, obsidian claws twitching feebly. Then, a corroded voice rasped, words barely more than a rasping breath, "Help me, please." His stomach twisted. The thing's voice was fragmented yet achingly familiar. His heart crushed beneath a surge of desperate pity and revulsion. Something terrible had happened here. The howls and cries made sense now. This abomination was once human, trapped in a living hell beneath that tarp. Simon's eyes darted around but the garage door was shut tight. No sign of the Irwins or anyone else. His mind raced, trying to understand. How did this monstrosity come to be? Why was it hidden here? A sudden memory struck him. The letter he'd found in his mailbox earlier that day, unopened until now. It was from the previous tenant of his apartment, a frantic warning scribbled in uneven handwriting. Don't trust the Irwins. They hide things. Horrible things. If you hear noises, don't look under the plastic sheet. Simon's pulse hit a terrifying rhythm. He glanced around, searching the dark shadows for any means of escape. The creature shifted its weight and Simon caught the glint of a scrap of paper trapped beside it, yellowed and crumbling. It read, "The curse spreads by exposure, do not touch. If you see, don't look." The creature whimpered again. "Release me." Simon's world spiraled into chaos. He felt icy hands grip his heart. Slowly, a vision forced itself into his mind, memories not his own slipping. Inside, the Irwins performing strange rituals, bathing in chemicals, laughing as a living creature writhed and screamed under the tarp. Simon recalled muffled screams, a vague knowledge that this was not just one victim but part of a horrifying experiment twisting flesh and spirit. His skin crawled. This was no simple neighbor. This was something monstrous masquerading behind familiar faces. The creature's pathetic voice cracked as it tried to warn, "They come for you next." Suddenly, the garage door creaked open wide, shadows spilling inside. Two figures stepped into the dim light, the Irwins. Their smiles were vacant and cold, eyes hollowed like the creature's own. They advanced slowly, arms outstretched like hunters closing in. Simon stumbled back, but the garage seemed to grow incomprehensibly larger, walls pulsing as if alive. Underneath the plastic, other shapes shifted, twisted shadows that breathed and clicked and hissed. The Irwins' faces contorted, melting into grotesque visages of bone and sinew as their skin twisted like molten wax. Their laughter shrieked through the air, a sound warped by madness and cruelty. Simon's cry was swallowed by the choking darkness as tendrils of slick black flesh burst from the tarp, entwining around him, dragging him down into hellish depths. Fear ignited his mind, and he screamed, not in pain, but raw defiance. In that moment, Simon understood the truth. The tarp wasn't just covering furniture. It was concealing the monstrous consequences of human hubris and unchecked horror. The plastic sheet was a barrier between worlds, a prison of twisted flesh and blood, a living nightmare preserved for dark machinations. Simon's final thought, before darkness took him completely, was a chilling plea burned into his soul. Don't look under the plastic sheet. For more stories, like and subscribe.